Good evening, everybody, and thank you once again for watching. I just wanted to provide a fairly quick update on the progress that we've seen within the project recently, explain a little bit more about what's been going on behind the scenes, and share with you a new feature that we've worked on in the last 2 or 3 days. So in our last video, we showed you the ability for the application to support multiple users and multiple airports. And I kind of came to fix a bug that came up as a result of that. And the bug essentially said that the ability to reorder strips in a bay was not quite working perhaps as it should. And I didn't like that very much. And so when I really stuck into fixing that, I realized that there was a limitation in the architecture whereby the strip order was being worked out on the client side, not centrally in the hub. And what that meant essentially was that when we got to a point where there were many people controlling an airfield and there were different views and so on and so forth, that order was not going to be shared. And so people would be seeing different strips in a different order, even if they're in the same bay. And for obvious reasons, that's not very good. So we've re-architected the application really to accommodate that sharing of information and that sharing of knowledge. We've centralized some of the functionality, so now when I SID trigger, the decision as to which bay are we going to move that strip into is centralized. That happens within the application's hub rather than in the client application itself, and it's persisted and it's shared across everyone that needs to know about it. Crucially as well, the order of these strips is now being maintained by something central. So if I take the shamrock and I SID trigger, the shamrock appears in the top of the bay. I can move the shamrock to the bottom of the bay. I can move the shuttle between the two of them. We have again the ability to reorder strips in a bay, which is great. Crucially, if I had another user, and I don't just at the moment, we would be able to see that that order is being reflected correctly across multiple users. And of course, that leaves us in a really good position to be able to share data much more accurately and much more stringently and persist that data. That was another concern, was that if the application had crashed and we were rendered, there was no guarantee of getting strips in the same order. We now make that guarantee. In terms of protecting against what we call regression, so the act of changing something and accidentally breaking something, regressing to an earlier state, we still honour the workflow. I still can't move these strips out of this bay into the runway bay. I have to click and tap. The same is true for departures. But this structure allows us to make some changes. And what you'll see now is if I take the Speedbird and I try to SID trigger out of airborne departures, I can't do it. And so really I'll take this opportunity to bid you good night and introduce you to our newest feature, QSY toggle.